All right, let me get my levels fixed real quick. We're gonna get right into it today. We're not doing no video introduction today because this is a continuation of a previous episode that I had started on Sunday.
Right on.
So what we had talked about on Sunday was the idea of manifest destiny, right? What was the philosophical foundation for the creation of America? So we have the mainstream historical narrative, right? Um, they tell us in the history books that European settlers came over here to escape the strict ruling of the monarchies in Europe, and this very love, light, and pursuit of happiness type of story. But the reality of it is much more nefarious and much more insidious, right? Um,
Escaping a lesser evil to create a greater evil, it seems like.
yeah. So like, I'm gonna ask you a question, Paul. You ever wondered why America was um always like never settled by like a very well known civilization like the North American continent?
I I feel like it was already settled. Like there were
Exactly.
already massive amount of people here. South America was probably more developed than North America, and that would be due to, I want to say, weather conditions like glacier and stuff. So you want to be in between the Cancer and Capricorn, right? You want
Mm.
to be in between those on the climate. Um, a little bit more wild in North America, but it still had great civilizations. Massive amount of people lived here. Um, and I think it was already well established. They had trade routes and um,
We're gonna look into
they
all
had
of
all
that
that
here
stuff going
shortly.
on.
All right. So yeah, to piggyback off what you said, there was civilizations already established here. The problem is they have a narrative. They have what you call a plan, right? We talked about this in the last episode how a large majority of our history and how we perceive our history are events that were pre-planned by people at the very top, right? So I'm going to continue reading on the book I was reading last week, The Secret Destiny of America, and we're going to look at some of these philosophical aspects, and we're going to look at what was done to create America. From Plutarch's description of voyages, it can be calculated that our great continent in the Western Hemisphere was visited by the ancient Greeks. Okay, before I even continue, the ancient Greeks pre-existed Christopher Columbus, right? For the better part of, I want to say, about 2,000 years, right? So that alone right there just dispels the whole narrative that Christopher Columbus was the first person to, or the first European to see the new world, right?
It would,
That's already been debunked.
and it kind of makes sense because Greece was known
And
for
we're actually going to
fishing,
look at in a little bit
right?
who Christopher Columbus really was.
They were known for fishing. Like that's what their main economy was based off of, was fishing.
So let me continue here. Parts of the Western Hemisphere was visited by the ancient Greeks. They not only reached our shores, but explored part of the Great Lakes area. Under a thin veil of symbolism, they perpetuated in mythology their knowledge of our land, which they called blessed. The area was anciently set apart for coming generations in the great human experiment of the democratic commonwealth. You understand? So when these ancient writers, right, they talked about the Holy Land and the blessed land, they were talking about the New World. You understand? Because this was the area where they were going to set their ideas and the beliefs. This was again, this was a plan. This was destiny. This is why it was called manifest destiny. They're manifesting their destiny that was permeated to them for thousands and thousands of years. Let's look at it. The ancient Greeks had a far better knowledge of geography than popular opinion today indicates. We have been deceived as to the full measure of classical learning because the Greeks did not commit the larger part of their knowledge to writing, and they bound scholarship with a vow of secrecy. Okay? So what the Greeks did, they didn't write books expressing all the things that they knew. They kept all this information secret, and the only way that you could get this information was by joining one of their mystery schools, one of their secret societies. Okay. This is why a lot of times when you go to universities now, even now, you get approached by one of these fraternity groups or one of these sororities, right? It's the same concept. You know what I'm saying? It's to keep whatever knowledge in a specific group. You know what I'm saying? In the ancient days, all learning was regarded as sacred. But repeat that. In the ancient days, all learning was regarded as sacred. Wisdom was entrusted to the keeping of priest philosophers, and they were permitted to communicate the choicest branches of the sciences only to duly initiated pupils. To bestow knowledge upon those who had not prepared their minds by years of discipline and self-purification profaned the mysteries and desecrated the sacred sciences.
Telling you right there. And they got that from the Egyptians.
Right? So what they're telling you is that you couldn't even get educated as to what was going on if you wasn't one of part of these groups. Not really much has changed over the thousands of years. This is why we got so many people running around out here that don't know what's going on.
And you could parallel those groups to religious leaders.
Ask 10 people when you get a chance what the occult is. Ask 10 people when you get a chance what's esotericism. Ask them what symbolism is. Right? They don't even know that these things are part of our fabric of our reality, right? They only know material, right? They know physical. They know what they smell, right? They know what they hear, the five senses. But they can't think outside of the abstract area of our reality, right? That spiritual aspect of our reality. This is everything that these people tap into. And this is why they have a position of power. We only living in 50% of our reality. These people are living in 100% of the reality because they're studying the brain, right? They're studying how you think, how you react to stuff, your emotions. Are you doing that as an individual? When's the last time the average individual sat in the house and went over a psychology book and really understood how the human mind works? There's people that dedicate their lives to this.
Right.
There's people that have dedicated thousands of years of their lives to a certain objective.
To understand how the human mind operates.
Let's continue. Some years ago, in discussing this fine point in ethics with the late Professor James Breasted, the most distinguished of American Egyptologists, he confirmed my own findings and further stated it to be his personal conviction that the classical civilizations concealed most of their learnings under legends, myths, and allegories, and these have long been mistakenly accepted as the literal beliefs of these people. Things like the Bible, right? They were never meant to be accepted as historical truth. They were never meant to be accepted in the light that they became accepted. These things were allegories. They were trying to teach you moral ideas, right? They were trying to teach you spiritual ideas. It wasn't meant for people to be taken literally, right? There can be no doubt that the existence of a great continent in the Western Hemisphere was known to the ancient Greeks and also to the Egyptians and the Chinese. It is nothing short of foolish to assume that the ancients lacked ships sufficiently seaworthy to navigate the larger oceans. Long before the Christian era, the older civilization had constructed boats far larger and more seaworthy than any of the vessels used by Columbus. One of the Ptolemies of Egypt built a ship large enough to have an orchard of fruit trees on deck, together with swimming pools and fountains stocked with live fish. Okay? So cruise ships were built by ancient Egyptians. The ancient Egyptians had cruise ships. Where do you think we get the idea for a cruise ship? We learned this from our ancestors.
And they even say it in Noah's Ark. That's a cruise ship.
They're telling you all this information. Man, let me continue, man. Calculations based upon Plutarch's description of ancient voyages seem to indicate that the Greeks not only reached the coast of America, but explored the St. Lawrence River and part of the Great Lakes area. Plato, in his treatise on the destruction of Atlantis, wrote that due to the commotions in the ocean caused by the submergence of a vast continent, all navigation to the west ceased for a long period of time. This statement can only apply that such navigation had taken place in remote times.
So after, let's say a great flood or something like that happened, they're
Yeah.
like, it's not safe. We shouldn't venture out.
Yeah, so like this whole the ancient civilizations have traveled the world, right? The whole idea that we all came from this one little part and this is nonsense. The world was inhabited all at the same time, all over the place. People were here at the for hundreds of thousands of years. We don't even know the how far back we go. So we just make shit up and we create shit out of thin air and we say, hey, we came from monkeys, right? Even though monkeys still exist, right?
Right.
Or then they make up other shit and say that we came from bacteria and all this other shit, right? We don't know. That's the real answer to all of this. We don't know. So we just make things up, right? But what we do know is that the ancient civilizations already knew that America was here, right? They already knew that this land was here, right? So let me continue on. Check this out. Greek mythology perpetuates the knowledge of a blessed land beyond the western boundaries of the ocean. In this blessed land dwelt the Hesperides, the beautiful daughters of night, and here also at the end of each day the sun came to rest. In popular mythology, the Hesperic Isles were kind of a terrestrial paradise, right? So the whole idea of watching the sun set in the west was like mythological for these people in the ancient times, right? This is where we get astrotheology from, right? And these stories of Horus and of Jesus and all these things, they're telling us stories of the sun's transit across the sky. And they created allegories to explain this, right? The ancients believed the earth to be surrounded by a sphere of constellations, and they assigned to each country the star groups which were above that country's particular area of land. In the arrangement preserved in the writings of Aratus of Soli, the constellation of the eagle spreads its wing across the North American continent. The serpent constellation winds its coil over Mexico and Central America, and the dragon floats in the sky above Japan and China. Okay, so this is important, right? This is why we see that the dragon is a very, very big in the Oriental culture, right? Because the constellation that is directly above these countries is the dragon. The same thing with the eagle. The eagle is the constellation that is above the North American hemisphere. This is why the Indians paid very big homage to the eagle and to the birds of prey. It resonated with with the constellation and how they viewed the stars. Same thing with Russia, right? Over Russia is the Great Bear. What is Russia known as? The Great Bear, right? They even sell their ammunition. They got a big bear on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the ancients were in tune with what was going on. Right? Thus, in many ways, we discover indications that the old races were wiser than we thought, and that what we may have called discoveries are only rediscoveries. This is what research is. Research means to look again. So we're not finding anything new. None of these things that I'm telling you is anything new. There's been thousands and thousands of people before me that have given this information. Now, whether if you find this information relevant or not, that's on you. But don't pretend to have an education and don't pretend to be knowledgeable and don't pretend to have an opinion about things, right, that you know absolutely nothing about. It's really that simple, right? So let's continue on. It was in an old book, which is in the British Museum, that I found another and even important key to the meaning of the Golden Fleece. It was known to the Greeks that the Golden Fleece was in reality a parchment on which was written the secret of human immortality. It was this parchment that Jason sought, for whoever discovered it would gain the secret of enduring empire and power over the whole world. We now have in America enshrined in the Congressional Library a Golden Fleece, the American Declaration of Independence, written on the skin of an animal and preserved as the magic formula of human hope. Those who understand it and can wisely import of its writings are possessed the secret of immortality of human society, right? So if you're familiar with Jason and the Argonauts and the story of the Golden Fleece, right? He was looking for this scroll and this magical. This is all allegory. This is all symbolic. This is not real. It didn't really happen, right? But in the story, he's talking about how he's looking for this secret scroll, and this scroll had all the answers for humans to live forever. So what the author here is saying is that that's what our Declaration of Independence symbolizes for us. It's this sacred scroll, right? And it's with this idea of all men are created equal that we are able to build a civilization, right? Created on liberty and freedom and the pursuit of happiness. But the people at the very top, our founding fathers, won't know this information if they didn't dabble in the occult. You understand? There's no way that you could know this information if you didn't dabble in the occult, right?
Because they're looking for all the details in history that are just like passed up.
Exactly, right? The curious fortunes of war brought another golden fleece from across the sea, and it is now preserved together with our own. This second parchment is the Magna Charta, the English Bill of Human Rights, which was the inspiration behind our American Declaration of Independence. These two immortal documents together form the Declaration of the Rights of Man and are the basic text of modern democracy, right? So this Magna Charta and these Declaration of Independence, these are our physical source paper documents, right? That give humans the right to exist in the state of democracy and this idea of democracy, right? I'm gonna continue on here.
Didn't Jay-Z come out with Magna Carta?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like a play on words that he was doing, but basically, the Magna Charta was the set of ideas and principles that the early settlers put together to come to a new land. Like we're gonna move to this new land under these set of rules, right? It's like a contract, like when you get into a partnership with a people for a business. You come, this is what our set of rules are, and this is what it is, and we're gonna stamp this, and we're gonna verify this, and notarize it, and it's law, right? Now we're gonna get into um this particular section right here because this is important. All right, so this particular section of the book is called "The Democratic Tradition Preserved by Secret Societies." Right? I'm going to read here. See if I can zoom in a little bit. People can read with me. Ain't no fun reading by myself, right? For more than 3,000 years, the secret societies have labored to create the background of knowledge necessary to the establishment of an enlightened democracy among the nations of the world. The Greek Dionysians were social and political temple builders, known as the Collegians in later Rome. The rise of the Christian church brought persecution of the classical intellectual patterns ideology, driving the guilds into greater secrecy, while all have continued searching for human happiness under a variety of rituals and symbols, and they still exist as the order of the quest. Right? Today's thinking toward a democratic world state is neither a new trend nor an accidental circumstance. The work of setting up the background of knowledge necessary to the establishing of enlightened democracy among all nations has been carried on for many hundreds of years by secret societies. Okay? So this first sentence is basically telling you that this whole idea of democracy, this whole idea uh, uh, of life as we know it, is a creation of the secret societies and the esoteric philosophy that they follow. This is not something that just developed naturally. Because if humans were left to their natural tendencies, right, it'd be war and bloodshed and rape and pillaging, right? Because we would resort into our beast animalistic nature that we tend to fall into without enlightenment, right? So these secret societies basically took it upon, nobody gave them the authority to do it. What they did was they took it upon themselves to steer humanity into a desired level of civility,
To
right?
to make sure everybody had purpose.
Not everybody. The people they wanted to have purpose.
There you go.
Not everybody. This is where the nefarious aspect of it comes into play because they could easily just give this information to everybody and the whole world can function on an enlightened level, right? Because not all of the information that they're sharing is bad.
Well, right, but even if okay, so even if they're not enlightened, they're still fulfilling their purpose on the hierarchy.
Hmm.
They still got to be debt slaves. There still got to be who want to just work. There still has to be those people.
What would motivate you to get up and work in the morning if there wasn't no poor people to show you the result of not working?
Exactly.
This is what people got to understand. So the question that I'm going to pose to the viewers who's watching: what would motivate you to get up and go to work if money wasn't a thing? Right? If you didn't need money and everything in your life was taken care of, what will motivate you to get up and go to work every day? Right? Is it the feeling of self-righteousness that we get by telling people, hey, I have a job, I'm better than you because you don't have one? Right? Is it that? Right? Because money is not a thing now, right? So, and again, this is a hypothetical thing, but you got to ask yourself, why are they not teaching you how to be a boss and create something? Why are they not giving you access to the same level of technology that they're using, right? Why are only certain people getting access to this? Let's look at why. Secret societies have existed among all peoples, savage and civilized, since the beginning of recorded history. The esoteric organizations of ancient times were for the most part religious and philosophical. In the medieval world, they were philosophical and political. In the modern world, political and social. Right? What disappeared out of that? I'm going to read it again, Paul. What disappeared? Esoteric organizations of the ancient times were for the most part religious and philosophical, right?
Right.
In the medieval world, they were philosophical and political. In the modern world, they were political and social. Now, what disappeared out of that group?
Philosophical and religious.
Exactly. And what are those things? What do those religion and philosophy deal with? Aspects of the soul, aspects of spirituality, aspects with yourself.
Yeah.
Now everything is political and social, right? And when you get on your on your media, right now, what are you going to see? You're going to see people crying about a debate where they expected two idiots to say something intelligent, right? You went into this with expectations because the world is being steered by secret societies that want us politically and socially motivated, not philosophically motivated, not religiously motivated, not any type of self-introspection, reacting to outside influence.
No self-consciousness.
Secret societies have had concealment and protection as the first purpose of their existence. The members of these orders were party to some special knowledge. They usually took part in certain rites and rituals not available to non-members, but it was more important that through the societies they were also able to practice beliefs and doctrines in private for which they would have been condemned and persecuted if these rites were made public. A second purpose for secret societies was to create a mechanism for the perpetuation from generation to generation of policies, principles, or systems of learnings confined to a limited group of selected and initiated persons. Plain as day, right? He's telling you. Their job was to make sure that the power stays within the families, right? The bloodlines, the groups. So if me and Paul start a secret society, right? And I tell Paul, find me some people to bring into this society. I don't want no broke people. I don't want nobody with an IQ under 145, right? Everybody has to be a millionaire. My secret society is going to be pretty powerful, right? Because the only people that I'm accepting into it are people that can add power and be an asset to my organization.
And that's what they've been doing all these years.
They've been doing this for thousands of years, okay? This is why rich people marry other rich people. It's not because they in love. Know what I'm saying? When a rich person decides to fall in love with somebody that's not rich, what happens to them? They get outcast. Right? What happened to Princess Diana? Right? Look at Prince Harry now, right? You want to marry a regular schmegler? Okay, you don't get to enjoy the fruits or the benefits of what we got to offer you. Right? It's been like this since the Egyptians. It's been like this since the Greeks. It's been like this since the Romans, right? How many people know that every single one of our presidents is connected, is an ancestor of royalty? Every single one, even Obama. Every single politician that we've ever had, as far as the president of the United States, is a descendant of royal bloodline. That's the only way you could be a president of the United States. There will never be a president of the United States that doesn't have an ancestor with royal bloodline.
So
Period.
that's how they're all related.
Period. It's not even up for negotiation, not up for debate, right? And this is public record. I'll put the link at the end of the show. I'll put the link where you can trace it. So what does that tell me? That presidents are not elected, they're selected. They already know ahead of time who they're going to have as your president. They run a good cop, bad cop routine on us, where the end goal is what? Socialism, right? World socialism, right? But you're not going to accept world socialism. If like, Paul, do you want to be a socialist? You're going to say no, right? So what do? I install conservatism that's so rotten and corrupt and so racist and so blatantly idiotic, right? That you're going to accept the socialism that I'm going to offer to you because it's going to be given to you classy, without the outbursts, without an orange face. But you're still going to get what they want you to get anyway. And they use the clown to push you there. That's what they did. They used the clown to steer American consciousness to get what they wanted to get anyway, which was world socialism. And they use somebody like Trump to do that because he's so much of a clown, right? And he gets people so mad and gets people so polarized that they don't even realize that he's part of the finesse, right? Let's continue. Primitive secret orders exist among African tribes, among the Eskimo, and throughout the East Indies and Northern Asia. The American Indian, the Chinese, the Hindus, and Arabs have elaborate religious and fraternal organizations. In most cases, these secret orders are benevolent and the members are bound together by obligations of mutual helpfulness and the service of the public good. It is beyond question that the secret societies of all ages have exercised a considerable degree of political influence. Let me repeat that. It is beyond question that the secret societies of all ages have exercised a considerable degree of political influence. Okay? Usually directed against despotism, intolerance, and religious fanaticism. Okay? So it's telling you right here that not all secret societies are bad. And I can vouch for that. I know for a fact all secret societies are bad. But the ones at the very top don't give a fuck about you. And that I can also vouch for it. Right? And the reason why they don't care about you is because most people don't have the knowledge that these things even exist. Right? You hear people, when you hear people talk about the Constitution, you got to ask people, why was the Constitution written? We know that it was written. We know the words on it. But ask people, why was the Constitution written? Why was the Declaration of Independence written? This is when you get into metaphysics and shit like that. The why of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they're gonna always stay. I don't want to say that they're evil, or I don't want to say that they're good. They're just in the middle and don't care. They have to manipulate order out of chaos, like to create the bad, to create the solution, create some more.
It's a state
chaos,
of moral relativity.
Create some more solution, and they're just in the middle. They don't care who it affects, who dies, who They just
because everything is for the greater good. Right? It's not really good or bad for them. If I have to kill 2,000 to save 2 million, this is the decision level of decision making they're made. I'll gladly sacrifice 2,000 people if it's going to save 2 million or if it's going to generate $300 trillion income in the long run or whatever. Mm-hmm. These 2,000 people's lives are just a sacrifice, right? Let me continue on. The order of Dionysian artificers originated among the Greeks and Syrians at some remote time before 1500 BC. 1500 BC, okay? This is almost 4,500 years ago, okay? They was already working finessing shit 4,500 years ago.
Damn.
Okay? It was composed originally of skilled craftsmen banded together in a guild to perpetuate the secrets of their crafts. Gradually, the science of architecture took precedence and dominated the policies of the society. According to legend, when Solomon, king of Israel, resolved to build his temple according to the will of his father David, he sent to Tyre and engaged the services of a cunning workman, Hiram Abiff, a master of the Dionysian, artificers. The members of this society held the exclusive right throughout the Greek states of designing the temples of the gods, the houses of government, the theaters of Dionysus, and the buildings used for the public games. Okay, so these Dionysian artificers were the Freemasons. They were what we know now as Freemasons. These were the originators of the Freemasons. The Hiram Abiff is the third degree ritual that you do when you get to your Master Mason degree. You do the ritual of the Hiram Abiff, the death and the resurrection, right? And it's all about being reborn as a civilized, enlightened man. Now you died as a profane man, and you're reborn now as an enlightened man. And this is what all these rituals are about, right? It's all about getting your vibration in tune with the frequency of what's going on, right? And Hiram Abiff was, he was alleged, it's a myth. It never really happened, right? It's an allegory. And he got killed by three ruffians, and one of them stabbed him in his head, one of them stabbed him in his back, and one of them stabbed him in his neck, right? But what the ruffians are is telling you it's education, it's emotion, it's our principles. It wasn't real people that did the killing. You know what I'm saying? It's an allegory.
Right.
But moving on from that, it is certain that the Dionysians practiced secret rites and worshiped the gods under geometric symbolism, right? And that they possessed a body of lore which included mathematical secrets of proportion and design, certain knowledge concerning universal dynamics, and a philosophical, religious, moral, and political conviction concerning the perfecting of human society. They refer to ignorant and uncultured humans as a rough ashlar, right? That is an uncut stone as it comes from the quarry, unsuited to the purposes of building. Through refinement, which resulted from self-discipline and an addiction to the divine arts, man perfected himself, becoming square, upright, and true, thus forming the true ashlar, or the cut stone which would fit with others into a pattern of masonry. In their secret work, the Dionysians thus were social and political temple builders, and the temple upon which they labored was the living temple of the living God, built of stone made ready before it was brought thither, so that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was in the building. This temple was human society perfected, and each enlightened and perfected human being was a true stone for his building. Right? So listen to what they're saying.
So they basically are molding and melding select, or trying to get a grandest molding and melding of humans to create the quote unquote living God, which is the structure of society.
That's deep, right?
Right.
That they look at it as like a. So look at society like a art board, a canvas, an empty canvas, right? I want society to look a certain way, so I have to put a little happy tree here and a little thing here, right? Like the painting Bob Ross, right? I'm gonna put a little happy tree here and a little bird here. And this is what they do to us on a philosophical level, on a moral level, right? Well, the people really don't have a moral system. Let's give them a God. Well, their God is jealous. Let's give them 20 gods. Well, God needs an enemy. Let's give them a devil, right? So they give us all these things, and all these things steer our form of thought and our moral systems, right? Because again, human beings left to their primitive nature or resort to the animals that we are. I mean, we still find the ways in the civilized world to beat the shit out of each other, to kill each other, to rape, to fucking do shit to little kids, right? And then we got the audacity to act like we want a safer world, and we got the audacity to get mad when Trump says some dumb shit on the television or Biden says some stupid shit on the television. Look at the world around you, man. And be honest with yourselves. We don't do that. We still think that, I'm going to go out there and vote, and nobody's out there. I just made a video episode like 4 episodes ago about how the police actively go out there and be corrupt. We're doing this shit for 50, 60 years. Destroying the election ballots and stuffing the ballots to make sure their people get elected in there.
But not all police do.
I haven't had one police officer yet call me and be like, yo, bro, that is not the history of the police department.
Right.
because it's objective truth. I use their police sources for that. So how can you? It ain't no debating it, bro. It ain't no
wonder-
debating it.
I wonder, do they get blatantly like, here's a book, read this book. This is what you accept. Do you accept? Probably not.
It's because you know what it is, man. People want their version of reality or their conception, right? People grew up a certain way. It's just like if I grew up and I was if I grew up to be a police officer, right? And I'm from the hood. My reputation, my identity as who I am as a person is attached to this job. And if this job turns out to be a foundation, an organization that just hires pieces of shit and people that lack moral compasses, guess what I am? Right? That's a reflection of me.
You secretly indoctrinate.
So now I got to do everything in my power to defend this organization and ensure that I'm not like these people. But that's why I don't address that. I go to the source, right? And the source of the matter is the reason why things were created. That's why I don't waste my time debating people about symptoms. We're going to talk about the source of this shit. Debate me on that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about why you sick. We're going to talk about where your sickness came from.
That makes sense.
Let's continue on. As Grecian culture reached Rome, the Latins formed their own Dionysian society and named it the Collegia. What? Let me say that again. Hold on. As Grecian culture reached Rome, the Latins formed their own Dionysian society and named it the Collegia.
College.
College, exactly. The greatest of the Collegians was an architect, Vitruvius, sometimes called the father of modern architecture. A man of vast learning, he was responsible for the superior sanitation of Rome and the great aqueducts which still border the Appian Way. While the Collegia of the Romans was less philosophical than was the Grecian society because of the different temper of the Latin people, it was exercised considerable social power and perpetuated the substance of the old belief. So for my Latin people, I need y'all to start referring yourselves as Latin, bro. Because my descendants, your descendants, I don't know. I didn't come from Rome. Maybe like my ancient, maybe like 2% on the Spanish side, maybe.
Well, Spanish Spaniards are descendant from Latin, right?
A lot of Spaniards are African
Okay.
because the Moors conquered Spain
All right.
and built everything in Spain. So a lot of the Spaniards have both African ancestry and Jewish ancestry. They were called the Moranos.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, we need to really get an idea and go back in history and really identify like who we are. We don't even know who we are, right? Because I can tell you this: America already existed during this time. There was already native tribes that existed before the Romans, before the Greeks. Who you think taught the Egyptians how to grow? How did the Egyptians learn how to grow in the desert? It was the South American, the Arawaks that taught them how to do that shit.
The agriculture. You know what's funny? They say that, Latin, it went away, but for the most part, Latin was in the Mediterranean area. But when they come to the New World, now we have a quote unquote Latin America. I wonder if there's some hidden focuses in that.
So let me continue on with this. The rise of the Christian church broke up the intellectual pattern of the classical pagan world. So the devil that the devil that the Christian church talks about is this philosophy, this anti-Christian philosophy, right? That is this is what they talk about when they talk about the devil and Satan and things like that. This is what the church is talking about, because the church always viewed this kind of behavior as anti-Christian, right? Without even understanding that the Bible itself was created by these same people, right? Because the same secret societies are the ones those were the authors of the Bible. Moses was initiate of an Egyptian mystery school.
That's true. So he knew the secrets. He
He
knew
knew all of this.
Yeah. He was initiated into the secret society of Egypt.
Part of the Dionysian movement migrated eastward to build the empire of Islam, with each stone and mosque and palace being the mark of the master masons. Let me repeat that again, because I'm not just going in on Christianity here, right? Pay attention. Part of the Dionysian movement migrated eastward to build the empire of Islam, with each stone in mosque and palace bearing the mark of the master masons. Later, the migration continued as far as India, where these same marks are to be seen on the monuments of the Mughal dynasty. In early development of Europe, the Dionysians became the guild of the cathedral builders. They signed each stone with the secret symbols of their cult, and into the intricate carvings of church and chapel, they worked the old pagan figures and designs. Many guilds sprang up, binding skilled craftsmen in confraternities of arts, crafts, and trades. Architecture remained the chosen instrument for the perpetuation of the great design, the building of the perfect world. Right? This is why architecture is very important. If you look at architecture, right? Let me see if I can find some example of what I mean.
Oh man, it's time flies. It's almost been like I can't remember the name of the video. It had to be at least 6 years ago. I watched like a 3-hour video documentary about sacred geometry. That's what it was. Sacred geometry.
Yeah.
And it's infused in all the architecture
So
around
you
the
can take
world.
to my screen real quick. So right here are different examples of the architecture that they use, right? Sacred geometry is the phi ratio, right? They use these. Hold on, real quick. Let me type this in. Let me do a live research for y'all. This is what sacred geometry is, right? It's all these geometrical patterns and all these. They knew all of this in the ancient times. This is what they used to build, right? But this information was only given to, right? They were only given to people that were initiated into these secret societies. So you can't build anything if you don't know this. So I got power over you in society if I have the information that allows me to build shelter and you don't.
All right, and build something that lasts. Anybody can build something; it'll fall apart, right?
Right.
But build something that can last.
So let me continue on. All the sciences contain brilliant, far-seeing men who equally desire to contribute their part to the philosophic empire of the future. Secret societies were formed in their own professions, using the emblems established in their arts to conceal their social aspirations. Thus, the alchemists come into being, the mystic chemist seeking the elixir of life, the wise man's stone, the universal medicine, and the agent for the transmutation of metals. Right? The elixir of life is truth itself, the preserver of all things. The wise man's stone is science that can work all wonders and solve all riddles of the mortal sphere. The universal medicine is wisdom, the only cure for ignorance, which is the universal disease. The agent for the transmutation of metals is the pattern of the universal state, the essence of the perfect plan for a world civilization by which all the base elements in human society can be transmuted into spiritual gold of right purpose. Right? In Italy, the Illuminati sought for the pearl of great price hidden in the deep waters of mortal corruption. In Northern Europe, the Knights of the Holy Grail dedicated their lives to the search for the chalice of the Passion. Christian and Jewish Kabbalists pondered the letters of the scriptures to find the secret of the crown of splendors, and the Rosicrucians in their hidden houses used the Rose of Sharon as the symbol of brotherly love. A simple rearrangement of the letters rose becomes Eros, the Greek god of love, right? Eros is the Greek god of love, and when you're in love with somebody, you give them a rose, right?
Yeah.
This is how they use. This is how English language is, right? And Greek too. They use the correlations and the what's the term that I want to use? The combination, the connection, right? All these groups belong to what is called the Order of the Quest. All were searching for one and the same thing under a variety of rituals and symbols. The one thing that was perfected, a social order, Plato's commonwealth, the government of the philosopher king. To this To this end, each consecrated its life and knowledge, exploring even further into the secrets of nature to discover the greatest secret of all, the secret of human happiness. Right? So I want to show you guys something real quick. Because you can switch to my page real quick. This particular book, I got a link. I'll put a link for it in the chat. I got to figure out how to get it out of my documents. But this particular book will break all of this down for you if you're interested in learning some more, right? This is a very old book. This was written in, I want to say 1897, copyright 1897. So this book is about the better part, about 150 years old, 200 something years old, right? And it breaks down all of this shit from the beginning to end. Every secret society known to mankind, every ritual, you know. So when I say I know about this particular subject, I know about this subject because I took my time to study it from reliable sources. I didn't go on YouTube, right, and watch a video. I went to the source of the information, right?
You cross-reference.
And cross-reference, and then you could get a good understanding of what. So I'm going to read just a little excerpt from the introduction.
Okay.
And we're going to hear from a person that was in a secret society what a secret society is.
Right from the horse's mouth.
Intelligibility and nature of secret societies. Secret societies once were as necessary as open societies. The tree presupposes a root. Besides the empire of might, the idols of fortune, the fetishes of superstition, there must in every age and state have existed a place where the empire of might was at an end, where the idols were no longer worshipped, where the fetishes were derided. Such a place was the closet of the philosopher, the temple of the priest, the subterranean cave of the secretary. Classification of secret societies. Secret societies may be classed under the following heads: religious, such as the Egyptian or Eleusinian mysteries; militaries, such as the Knights Templar; judiciary, such as the Vemgerreich; scientific, such as the alchemists; civil, such as the Freemasons; and political, such as the Cabanari.
Wow.
Antisocial, such as the Garduna. So right there, they're telling you that they got these broken down into every element of society.
Right.
They have a different secret society for every element of society.
For every different aspect of society, like you said.
But their
for
goal
order,
is the same.
For order, though, and control.
Their goal is the same. To hammer out, to build reality the way they wanted to do it.
Yep.
They even got one for sports. Because I know a lot of y'all hate when I tell y'all sports is fake and rigged, but it is. Because the same people that own these sports leagues is just like everything else. They not going to leave $1 billion up to somebody's jump shot, bro. And if you believe that, then a long time I did, right? Because, we grew up playing sports and we like, yeah, these dudes. No, bro. It don't work like that. And this is just how our reality is. Now, the good news in all of this is that these people don't control your life as far as your decision making and what you do on a day-to-day level if you choose not to allow it, right? If you choose to let this little political shit keep you divided, right? Then that's something that's a problem on your personal behalf because you lack the necessary discernment to know when you get in finesse, right? And there's so much I haven't even tell y'all. See, because I could tell y'all how to look for this shit, but then you're going to see it everywhere, right? And then it's going to put you in a state of paranoia and shit. And I don't want to do that neither.
I was there for a second.
I'm just going to let you know that it's there, and then you take it upon yourself to separate yourself from this matrix, right? Religion had in its secret societies from the most ancient times they date, in fact, from the period when the true religious knowledge, which, be it understood, consisted in the knowledge of the constitution of the universal and the eternal power that had produced and the laws that had maintained it. Possessed by the first man, began to decay among the general mass of mankind. The genuine knowledge was to a great extent preserved in the ancient mysteries, though even there were already a degree removed from the first primeval native wisdom, since they represented only the type instead of the archetype, namely the phenomenon of outward temporal nature instead of the realities of the inward eternal nature, of which this visible universe is the outward manifestation.
That's deep. Oh, that's
Since the
deep.
definition of this is now recovered, genuine knowledge is necessary for understanding much that was taught in the religious societies of antiquity. We shall further on enter into fuller details concerning it. Right?
Yeah, that's deep.
So what is this saying, right? What they're saying is that um even religion itself, religion was something that the planners, I'm going to call them the planners for now, right? Um decided to introduce into humanity because it gave humanity um something to focus their thought process on. Where do we come from, right? Finding this source. Where do we come from? What is this source of creation? That why is the sun come up? Why is the moon come up? Why is the water does what it does? Why does the air blow, right? These are all things that
The architects.
the source, the metaphysical aspect of things, right? Politically, secret societies were the provident temperers and safety valves of the present and the powerful levers of the future. Let me repeat that. Secret societies were the provident temperers and safety valves of the present and the powerful levers of the future. Without them, the monologue of absolutism alone will occupy the drama of history, appearing more ever without an aim and producing no effect if it had not been exercised by the will of man by inducing reaction and provoking resistance.
Call them the engineers.
That's deep right there.
They're
They're
engineering.
telling you that our history of humanity wouldn't have been anything if they wasn't there poking the sticks and forcing people to react and to do things,
Yeah,
right?
they was engineering that.
So all this culminates in the concept of America, right? All these ideas culminate in this concept of America, where all these secret societies, a lot of them, they were built here. These are international. All these secret societies are international, but a lot of them came here to America, and America was going to be this new Atlantis, was going to be this new Babylon. So in the book of Revelations, when they're talking about Babylon, and they're talking about the Catholic Church, and they're talking about the New World. You understand? That was a Kabbalistic interpretation of what they're talking. They're not talking about the end of the world, apocalypse, which is what Revelation is. Simply means to reveal, to pull back the veil. So they're told you in the book of Revelations what was going on, but everybody took it literal, and everybody is expecting a rapture that's never going to come. Right? They're expecting somebody to come out the sky that's never going to come. But it did give you truth. You just missed the truth because you don't understand these esoteric aspects. Once you understand these esoteric aspects, then everything in the Bible will make more sense to you. Because these people are the ones who wrote this. None of the Dead Sea Scrolls is in the Bible, bro. Maybe like 2% of the Dead Sea Scrolls is in the Bible. Yet, people be like, oh, we got the Dead Sea Scrolls and we got the Codex and all this bullshit. Bro, no. We don't even have original scrolls and stuff like that. We don't even have the original documents. We have copies of copies of copies with 50 different translations of things. All religious texts, not just one, because I don't want to. Again, I hate. It's just Christianity is the main religion here in America. You understand? If it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, I'll probably be talking about something else. But it's one of the oldest religions, and it's the primary one here in America, and it's the one that the Vatican represents. The Vatican represents an esoteric version of Christianity. Right? Catholicism. They still do the rituals. They still do all of this shit that the secret societies do. You understand? And that's basically what's going down here. And it's been like that, right? So let me continue reading since I still got some time left. The aim of the secretaries is the erection of the ideal temple of progress, to fecundate in the bosom of sleeping or enslaved peoples the germs of a future liberty, as the nihilists are now doing in Russia. This glorious edifice, it is true, it is not yet finished, and perhaps never will be. But the attempt itself invests secret societies with a moral grandeur, whereas without such aim, their struggle will be debased into a paltry, egotistical party fight. It also explains and justifies the existence of secret societies, and to them, many states owe not only their liberties, but their very existence. As modern instances, I may mention Greece and Italy. So this dude is saying that Greece, the country of Greece and the country of Italy, the whole reason why they even exist is because of secret society. Again, because I told you, ancient Greece, right? They kept their knowledge for the initiated. Why you think when you go to college, they give you a degree? Degree didn't come from scholarship. It came from the secret societies. You go do the first degree, second degree, third degree, and you end as master masons. It's the same thing when you go to college. You get your associates, you get your bachelor's, then you get your master's. You are now a master. It's the same concept. You understand? So what I really need y'all to do, man, I really need y'all to stop buying into this bullshit, man. And understand that it's people a lot smarter than me, a lot smarter than you, right, out here that invested their life into making sure that we are reacting, and we're not creating, and we're not the people at the top. And all this culminated in the creation of America. Because after all, that's what we're trying to find. What is the philosophical reason for the creation of America? Finesse is the philosophical creation, for, in a lack of a better words, to finesse. It's for the smart people to finesse the stupid ones. The stupid ones will continue to pay the taxes and subsidize all the pleasures that the rich people continue to enjoy, because the people at the top know this information, and you over there arguing with your friend on the internet really don't know shit. That's the reality of the situation. And I hate to make it sound all harsh, but after a week of hearing people with no knowledge of nothing just complain and act like they have opinions, I had enough, man. And I had to take the gloves off, and I really had to put the bell head in so y'all really could feel me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And again, all this information that I left out, look at this book. Look at this book. Look at this book. This is all information that I've already read. I've already read this shit. You know what I'm saying? I already read this shit.
388 pages.
And then I was trying to be nice about it and give y'all little by little, you know what I'm saying? Over the years, I try to be like, look, man, y'all need to go ahead and just work on yourself, man. Focus on, get your head out the game. Stop buying into these bullshit ass paradigms that we live in, right? Because when I found out the police was in charge of the drug trade, guess who wasn't selling dope no more? You know what I'm saying? I ain't selling dope for you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because you work for the police. You in the dope game, you work for the police. You ain't know that though. You thought you was being a rebel. You thought you was feeding and you know what? It is what it is, right? Because for whatever you had to do to feed your family at the time, you did what you did. But guess what? You working for the police now. Because that's who you getting your work from. And people don't understand this shit. They think this shit is a game. You know what I'm saying? They show y'all something on TV and y'all take it as face value and y'all think it's real. I just showed y'all websites where they create faces out of thin air and put a name on it and tell you this person got shot, and now you in your feelings arguing with somebody on the internet over a fake story. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. And what's even more crazy is these people are into a lot of sick shit too. There's a lot of child pedophilia is a ritual that they do in some of these secret societies. If you would have read the book, you would have knew that though. See, I can't tell you that. You have to read the book. If you would have read the book, you'll see that. And you'll be like, damn, these motherfuckers is foul. Right? Because there's a philosophical aspect to this, right?
Nasty.
Stealing the innocence of people. It makes people feel powerful. You know what I'm saying? Race, right?
Makes people feel
we made a show and we told you how race was a word that was just recently created. And what does race mean? You trying to get to the finish line for somebody else, right? Then we got people, melanated beings calling themselves black when black means the absence of light. And we carbon melanated beings, and all we do is absorb light. You see what I'm saying? So we all fucked up. We got all our information dead ass wrong, man. And this is why we always emotional and we always arguing about stuff because we don't have no clue about what's really going on. But that's why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Real quick before I go, I'm just gonna give y'all a little brief about one of the men responsible for all this shit. So you can click on my screen real quick, Paul.
Bet. Is this Sir Francis Bacon? Why is it not working? Hold on. There you go.
So Francis Bacon was this guy, right? I told you about in the last episode. He was the one that translated the King James Version of the Bible and gave us 66 books. The original Bible does not have 66 books. It has over 100 and something books. Why was the original Bible edited down to 66 books? I will tell you, but I'm gonna leave that for another episode.
Oh.
Sir Francis Bacon, first Viscount of St. Albans, was born on January 22nd, 1561. He is well known for his contribution to science. In fact, science and research is what it is today because of Bacon. The methodology of science and research, something we may not even think about as having an origin of ever not existing, was Bacon's brainchild. He is the father of empiricism, right? So me doing what I'm doing came from somebody in a secret society. How you love that? Right? The whole idea of me looking at information, right, and looking for the truth of something comes from somebody that was in the secret society, that was the head of the secret societies, right? Also, Shakespeare, he was the one that wrote Shakespeare. There was no Shakespeare. He was Shakespeare. But he created what is called a pseudonym, right? And he created this pseudonym and had you thinking that he was this mythical, this super mythical. And, Shakespeare is very popular. But y'all didn't know it was Francis Bacon. Y'all didn't know it was Francis Bacon that gave us the English language. Right? The reason why, Francis Bacon was very into the occult. The reason why the English letter has 26 letters, right, is because the word God equals 26. And the human body has 206 bones in the body. He knew this information. So he encoded our language to be a manifestation of God. 26 letters. Right? Let's see. Let's see how we do.
Mind blown.
Right?
Right.
When we write the word God.
It's that gematria calculator?
Right when we write the word God. Right? God.
26.
26, right? We have 26 letters in our alphabet. We have 206 bones on our body. This is what they do. Right? Same thing like Jesus, right? Jesus, right? 74. Died on the what? Cross, right?
Oh, it got a J in the beginning.
He died on the cross, right?
74.
Right? His arch nemesis is Lucifer, right? 74, right? And Jesus was known as the Messiah.
74.
So all these words connect with this same number. And I told you that 74 is how the Jews write God in their Kabbalistic language. 7-letter G, open space D, the 4th letter. So GD, that's what 74 means. It means God. This is how they do it. This is Kabbalah, what I just told y'all. This is like a mild form of Kabbalah, right? But this is all esoteric shit. This is how our reality is scripted, bro. Our reality is run on this shit. This is why things correlate with the dates, and it all goes together. Astrology, all of these things roll together. You don't have to believe none of this. Because some of this shit I don't even believe. But the people at the top believe it. And this is how they formatted our reality. Right? You familiar with the phrase, when in Rome, do as the Romans?
Yep.
So it's better to know this, right? And not allow yourself to get finesse Or you could just pretend that none of this is really happening, right? And you could go through your regular mundane existence, right? But you always gonna be in your feelings about something.
I mean, if you think about it, then Independence Day is 7/4, right?
Hmm. Independence Day. That's why we picked Independence Day on July 4th. It's a manifestation of the word God. 7/4.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, cross, Messiah is all the same thing. That's why they picked it. Also, it's a reverse, right, of 47. So let's look at 47, right? Because we heard a lot of 47 in the debate. Y'all want to know why they use 47 in the debate? Because it's this. It was coding. This is what 47 meant. This is why Trump was using that shit heavy in the debate, right? It's this, the 47 problem of Euclid, right? The 47 problem of Euclid is a mathematical ratio that allows a master mason to square his square when it is out of square. Okay? This is Masonic code. 47 was Masonic code. So all Trump was doing in his debate was telling you who was in charge. I've been in about 47 months and you've been in here 47 years. I'm just telling you right now, 47 is Masonic code. It's the problem of Euclid. It's the 3-4-5. It's how a Mason squares his square. So he was squaring his square. He was squaring a square in the debate.
So
I'm done, man. I'm about to wrap it up for today, man, because I don't even want to cook like this for real. Because then I'm gonna start really cooking. But I'm just letting y'all know, man. Y'all got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? Before y'all got a really good understanding. Y'all really need to get a good understanding of this shit, man, because there's a lot going on. Okay. The best thing that I could tell you to do is to turn your television off. Or if you're gonna watch it, understand that it's entertainment. I don't know how an adult with intelligence, right, could turn on the TV, see these two idiotic, half-dead motherfuckers on TV, and be like, damn, I feel inspired by anything coming out of their mouth. It makes no sense to me. At all. I just told you every single president we've ever had
was related.
Is connected
to the royal bloodline.
Like half of them been in secret society. Proven record. You see what I'm saying?
Proven record. But no, it's still a conspiracy.
CEOs.
It's a conspiracy.
The scientists, the doctors, the professors of the universities, the word college itself, right? Bro. It's funny, man, because I be laughing, man, because I know a lot of people sitting there like, man, this nigga talking crazy and shit. But I'm telling you, it is what it is, bro. Anyway, this was one of my, I like doing shows like this because these are topics that I kind of like, I know off the top of my head. But I really need y'all to look into this information and you determine what you find. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. This was very hopefully it was very opening and revealing for you as to the nature of our reality. And hopefully moving forward, now that you can understand who's really in control of shit, y'all can stop being so emotionally invested. You know what I'm saying? The next show that we got coming up is this weekend, and I'm gonna have co-host with me. Very sensitive subject matter. So I want to give you guys a disclaimer today. We will be talking about child sexual abuse. Where does it come from? How can we stop it? Some of the information is going to be pretty extreme, but it's information that needs to be shared. You know, because a lot of y'all want to save the kids, so we're going to actually go through the process of saving them. So I want everybody to tune in Sunday. I'll probably start a little bit earlier, so we can make sure that we get all the info. This is going to be a 2-part, 3-part show, though. So this is something that we're going to talk about over the next couple of episodes. So with that being said, if there's any follow-up, if y'all want to have any conversations, you're more than welcome to hit me up. Stop by the house. Y'all know I had these conversations at the house. You know what I'm saying? This is what I do. Thank y'all for tuning in. You see the cash up there? Shoot me some love. Got to pay studio bills, you know. They gonna come looking for me like the mafia if I don't pay, so make sure y'all show me some love. Hit like, share, subscribe, and peace out.